Welcome, everybody. Thank you all for being here in the holiday madness. You all made time on a Friday morning. Hope you're making time to get all of your stuff done before Christmas is upon us. We're here at Wave Street Studios, and we have been blessed with a wall of trash from last night's party from Chomp. So Chomp, if you're watching, thank you for having your holiday party. Wave Street appreciates all the gifts you've left us for our wonderful set this morning. So raise your hand if you're new. Raise your hand if you're new. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, thank you. And for all of our regulars, thank you for bringing your friends, because that's the way that people find out about this place, is mostly through word of mouth. But if you are online, when we do post about the next shows, if you mind like sharing those to your stories and helping everybody come to the next events in January and the ones beyond, that really helps more people find out about this space. And if we run out of space in person, we are live streaming so people can tune in from anywhere in the world. All right, Creative Mornings, Monterey Peninsula is just one chapter. There's 244 chapters worldwide. And this is a place for people to network and learn a thing or two from a public figure of some kind, or somebody who's got a lot to give. And we have got a great program ready for you today. All right. My name is Mike Buffo. I'm a fourth generation Monterey Sicilian, and I'm a filmmaker. Well, we don't say that anymore, so I'm a video producer. And I've got a great video I'm very proud of that I'm going to show to you in just a moment. First, I'm going to acknowledge our global partner, Adobe, for Creative Mornings. They are acknowledging Creative Mornings' great work around the world, and I want to acknowledge Wave Street Studios. This is our home. We've been here for over a year now. This is our second Christmas, and we're so grateful for Rhett and Judy for being our host and providing us the delicious coffee and a wonderful place. And also Rhett is back there on the controls switching live, so he's producing this show. So let's all thank Wave Street Studios. They do a lot of different events here. They're doing a lot of jazz concerts, play readings, events. This is the party place if you've got a corporation that wants to do some kind of annual party, birthday parties or things like that. So if you're interested in utilizing this space, please do. Think of Wave Street Studios first. And if you want to add a remote attendance option to your events, it's easy to do that because they've got all the cameras and infrastructure to do that. All right. So my company is House of 8 Media. And I decided to put some effort into creating a video of an amazing community project that we volunteer produced. Jules Hart and I, Jules Hart's my editor, and I directed and shot this video that you're about to see. But there was a new playground built in Carmel Valley. How many of you have heard of Tatum's Treehouse? Okay, cool. So this is the film about how Tatum's Treehouse came to be. Let's check that out.
We are here on the construction site for the Tatum's Treehouse, all-inclusive and accessible playground out here in Carmel Valley.
Anyone of any ability can play here. So it's inclusive that all ages, all abilities can be together side by side, and all of a sudden kids are no longer different from each other.
It can be to all kids. It can be to kids with abilities, regular kid. It can be to anyone who needs a playground.
The Tatum's Garden Foundation spearheaded an effort to build Monterey County's first inclusive playground in Salinas. And now our board of directors has, for many years, wanted to create a second space in our area.
This has been 6 years of love and time and dedication to bring this to fruition.
The community build is all of these people coming together, skilled, unskilled. We obviously have crane operators in today, and we have high school kids with shovels moving dirt.
So on Sunday, when we first started, this was dirt. We had 1 week ago. So we started, there were some post holes dug out, but that was it. So starting Sunday, we really started, cutting everything, getting everything prepped and ready. We've had hundreds of volunteers out.
When we have that level of experience all coming together, and everyone has a piece of it. When we come back through in 6 months or a year, we all protect it, we all own it. Everybody did something in it.
Tatum helped screw the green boards onto that roof.
So now Tatum's treehouse is actually partially built by Tatum herself and by her siblings, her parents, and then just the community at large. That it's not just for the children who have an ability restraint. We have grandparents that now can be on site with their grandkids. We have veterans who now can be on site who were disabled, who can be there with their kids. The kids that are working on this, the teenagers, are gonna remember this. We've got teenagers out here that remember Tatum's Garden being built when they were 3 or 4 years old.
Well, we were both really little. I was old enough that I wanted to help, but not old enough to actually help. And I remember going and hanging out with a bunch of the high schoolers who were working and just trying to convince them to give me tools, and they wouldn't do it.
Just seeing all the different high schools and districts and everything just work together and become one and just know that they are helping out other kids. And it's just been really cool to see and heartwarming.
We just want to thank from the bottom of our heart all of the people that contributed to this.
So I want to thank you guys for all coming out, coming together, helping bring our family's dream together and make accessibility and inclusion a reality here on the coast.
It's just a blessing that all of you guys are able to do this, so thank you so much.
This guy's a rock star.
I think we're just blown away and overwhelmed with gratitude for all of these friends and neighbors and strangers who came together to build such a beautiful place and gave all of their time this week to make our dreams a reality. Thank you.
It is truly a beautiful thing to be here with you all this morning, despite the rain, to celebrate this moment. I just want to share about what this place means to me. After 8 years of dreaming and working, it's a bit hard for me to grasp that it's actually finished. But last night I watched with a lump in my throat as my little girl rolled in here and rolled onto and rode a merry-go-round for the first time in her life.
So I just stand here humbled, I stand here honored, and I stand here so appreciative that we have a family like yours who's willing to live up to what we do here, not just in Carmel Valley, but what we do best in this community, and that's give back. Thank you.
I did that!
Thanks, everybody. That video's on YouTube if you want to share it, and it's also on Instagram on the House of 8 Media channel. All right, now I'm going to introduce our presenting sponsor. This is our speaker from a couple of sessions ago. So can I have Rebecca up on the stage? She's going to set the tone.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I just wanted everyone to just take in a big, deep breath right now. Oh, I love it how everyone just uncrossed legs. And just let yourself have a big exhale. And one more deep breath into the belly. You can touch your belly if you need to make sure there's air in there. And another big exhale. It is the holidays, and it is a busy time, and busy is not a badge that I like to wear anymore. It's something I put down. But when you think about going into 2025, and not just in your business life, in your professional life, like in your life, because we're not one or the other, do you feel right now like you can take an exhale? And also, you're excited, right? There's like a little momentum. Or are you feeling like, oh my goodness, I'm already feeling stressed. I'm closing out 1 year and not giving my space in the next year. So, as Mike said, I'm Rebecca Cafiero, and I am a business growth strategist and mentor. And I spent the last 20 years working with businesses. Actually, I spent the first 10 years working in corporate America. And I did a lot of what felt really impressive, like managed $1 billion in sales and worked with Fortune 50s. And I was completely miserable. Ended up in the ER thinking I was having a heart attack at 32 and realized that I didn't want to go on that way. And this year, actually this month, December 31st, I'll celebrate my 10-year anniversary in entrepreneurship supporting small business owners. And thank you, yes. And in that, supporting myself in a way that is so much more aligned because you're all the humans breathing life into your businesses. I want you to think about what type of life are you breathing into your business in 2025, but also into yourself. Like, are you taking care of yourself? And I am so grateful to be here because as part of my own soul alignment, we moved five and a half months ago from Silicon Valley here. And it was really actually honoring that 10-year journey I made when I quit corporate of not doing what looks good on paper, but doing what feels good. And when we watched that video of Tatum's treehouse, you know, it's like, oh, like that's what we all want. We all want impact and meaning. And I am a firm believer that we can create profit and purpose. In fact, every business that I work with is a purpose-driven and profitable business. And we can have both. So I want you to think about, you know, what do you want your 2025 to look like? Because yes, how many of you want to make more money? I would hope everyone would raise their hand. And if you are like, but if I make more money, like there's a lot of us probably have a wounded healer syndrome of we're doing what we love and then we feel like we need to be punished with being in scarcity. And I am very much about that we actually can create more space and more abundance to give our time, our energy, and our resources to causes, whether within our business or without, right? So how I help clients, I work with female entrepreneurs. We are a for women by women company. That does not mean I'm not totally down to grab a green juice or a tea with any male business owner and, you know, just give some ideas. But I'm really about helping women business owners to literally put a mic or a megaphone to their message and to like own their purpose and to be more visible. Often we won't do it for ourselves, but we'll do it for those that we want to impact. And so I put my little QR code at the bottom. That's to text me. But I work with both product-based businesses, brick and mortar businesses, and service-based businesses all over North America. And actually, I've worked on in 9 countries to increase your impact and income. And if you'd like to know about how I do that, I would love to connect. But I do it in ways that are both deep and fun, because I think we all need more fun in our business. And the other thing is in community. So I do that through one-on-one advisory, but also through a lot of bringing women together. We just finished a CEO slumber party, 2 days, that was so fun. And that's the thing is we think that we need to like work harder or work more, but often we actually need to step out of the day-to-day and work on the big vision. If you were there for a vision, it's like we have to have that big vision that can pull us forward. And it's not about the little to-dos. It's really about being massively called and also massively supported. So if any of you would like to connect with me, I am here, and I would love to pour back here to the local community. And I'm so grateful to be here and part of Creative Morning. So thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Jeez. I can listen to you talk for hours. It just helps connect me up to my greater vision. I'm going, yeah, I remember now. I remember now what it's all about. Yes, she brings a lot of perspective. I forgot to do one thing. I want to acknowledge somebody. Let me turn this off. Actually, I'm going to keep it on. Mark, will you stand up? Will you get a shot on Mark here? Mark was at Tatum's Treehouse almost every day, building that place as a volunteer. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. He did the roofs. In the rain, in the mud, Mark was there. Thank you. One of the many people that were there, every day. So if you'd like to be a sponsor for Creative Mornings, please let me know. So this month's theme is cycle. And to introduce cycle, I like to bring up our previous speaker, Dominique Anne.
It's good to see you all again. We can definitely have a moment of appreciation for the Christmas wall. And it's actually a great way to roll into this month's topic, where Christmas seems to have some prevailing vibes. And if that isn't matched inside of you, sometimes it's difficult to find it because life doesn't follow the Hallmark calendar. And I can't think of a better person to help us look at integrating that. It's not a skill that we're taught. So I've had the honor of knowing Linda for a few years now. It's post-COVID, so again, we lost sense of time there. I typically describe her as a shaman, but we had to work that through because she has some actual titles such as death doula. She curates grief workshops that are profound. I haven't attended them, but I've helped her structure them, I guess, bringing your business forward. And again, it's just been a real joy and honor to know someone who's also, she teaches Tai Chi, she teaches Qigong, she's in her body, and she's able to see the beauty of life in every aspect. So, Linda, thank you.
Thank you. And just to note, this is a Dominique Anne creation I'm wearing. Yeah, welcome. Thank you for coming on such a challenging topic. I want to start with just a little quote that sorrow prepares you for joy. It's a Rumi quote. And I think before we really dive into this, I want to just note that this is a skating over a very big topic. I can see I have like not much time. So we're going to like glide along to something that really is worth so much more of your time and curiosity. So I hope that my intention is that you will find something in our conversation today that will keep you going along this path to meet grief and sorrow fully as part of the spectrum of your life. And when we do that, as Rumi said, we open the doorway for joy. When we can really actually be with our sorrow, be with our grief, not as some kind of freaky mess, but just part of the cycle of our life, then we make the space, we make the room. So what I want to do is, not just for you, but for me too, I'd like to have us land. I'm going to strike this 3 times. Oh, yes. And as Rebecca, I think, notice, look at you all just settling right in. So the first strike, the invitation here is to take an inhale of about 6 and an exhale of about 8 or so at your own pace. But what we're trying to do is bring ourselves into that state of relaxation, a little hack around the parasympathetic nervous system, yeah? So that first breath is for our bodies to relax, to be here. The second breath is to acknowledge our breath, the breath of life, to breathe into your being and then take it out into the shape of your being, your energetic body beyond. And with the third strike, let's let our minds just come right here so we're all together in this shared space, in this container. Yes? Here we go. Okay, so grief. Sorrow. I think most of us know that. Could we agree that we've all had moments where there's sorrow, there's grief? Some of us maybe more than others. So in this conversation today, I'm not speaking about those who live with a really challenging constitution that really is something beyond the normal scope of life. We know that there are folks who have to wrestle with very deep depression and anxiety, and that's a whole nother ballgame. So what I'm speaking to now is just what most of us, well, I would venture to say all of us, have to experience in a lifetime. And I think it might be fair to say that one of the more acceptable grief that we kind of expect is around death. That we know that someone we love, something we have, will die. That is that conundrum of life. It's so beautiful, and it's temporary. And so we have a kind of a patience, I think, in our culture for people who go through a death. We have some rituals, we have funerals, we have ceremonies. We bring food to those who are grieving. We give them space, we offer support. If we're fortunate, that's a big part of it. And our culture really kind of expects that, offers that, promotes it to a point. After a while, the cards stop coming, the calls stop coming, and you are at home in your grief, in your apartment, alone, and really trying to figure out, how do I get back into life? Or I don't really want to get back into life. I'm grieving. And then it gets awkward because our culture keeps saying, okay, get on with it. Let's go. That's enough. Bootstraps. Let's go. It's, we're just so averse. We have like a phobia around sorrow and grief culturally. And so I don't feel like we have a lot of tools. We just aren't helped from when we're young to normalize a very normal cycle of life that we go through multiple times. In a Peruvian kind of culture, which I study too, everything's cyclical. We begin one place, we go through it, and we meet it again, especially if we haven't completed it, if we haven't done the work. So it is work to be with grief. It is work to be with sorrow. And I'm encouraging that work because on the other side of it, there's the space for joy in that cycle. So yes, we know the death one, but how many of you have heard of Francis Weller? Excellent, yeah. And the Wild Edge of Sorrow, or the 5 Gates of Grief. So I want to talk about that because we think grief is sort of compartmentalized into the death thing. But here we are in the holidays, and we might be feeling kind of funky. And like, I don't really want to participate in this holiday season, or I have ambivalence about it. We are often not shown all the ways that grief can show up. And I do want to promise you that we won't stay in the sorrowful place. After we do this, we'll talk about how we can be with it. But I think it's important to note. So let's see if I can make this clicker work. Oh, look at that. Okay, the first one. Everything we love, we will lose. That's it, right? We know that. We were just talking about that. How about this one? The places that have not known love. Can that resonate with you? Can you imagine those places in your own heart that just have not known love and acceptance? This is something, again, is a real powerful gate of grief that we don't pay much attention to. How it can sit in us over time. Things that happen to us as children, popping up when you're in your 60s. Never touched, never tended. The sorrows of the world, this one brings me to my knees on a regular basis. Even talking about it, I get a little choked up. This is the one about our earth, the planet, where we come from, what feeds us, what brings us to the fullness of our lives is nature, our food, our breath, everything. and we trash it on a regular basis. Yeah. Oh, wrong one. Still learning the clicker. What we expected and did not receive. Surely that can resonate with you someplace. Those places in our lives where we really hoped, our souls hoped for something, and we just never got it. And the last one, ancestral grief. I know someone well who's learned in her ancestry, they were slave owners. What she carries with that is devastating. And how about the other end of that spectrum? If you were an indigenous person and you know what your ancestors went through and are going through, the frames of grief are much bigger than death. And yet we don't ever support each other. We don't talk about it out loud in community to witness and share. I have to check my notes. I think this is a question point. Well, you can imagine if you are coming into a holiday or something or an anniversary and you're just not sure why you're feeling blue, there's so many reasons why you might be. Yeah? So grace is offered here. But I want to look at this next one. The reason I wanted to show you the gates of grief is I was looking around here and you're all going, yeah. We are not alone in grief and sorrow, even when we feel like we are. If we took the risk to talk, if our culture allowed us and encouraged us to speak to where we are in sorrow and grief and normalize that, we would not be feeling so alone. We would be able to move through it. My co-facilitator, Kim Birdsong, and I run a workshop called Meeting Grief. And one of the things we really recognize is that it is in the witnessing, in community, where we share our stories, that we create space. We feel validation, we feel seen, we are witnessed, we can find little pieces of joy again. But when we don't have that, we can feel trapped and stuck in a cycle that does not serve. Does that seem true? Yeah. Sorrow really is the silent language of human vulnerability, and we avoid vulnerability like the plague culturally. We want to be tough and strong. We don't want to expose our wounding. We don't want to expose our pain. And it's one of the most profound things if you can find the courage to do that. When you are vulnerable, you open the door for someone else to be vulnerable with you, and that is where healing happens. That is where it happens. It's not a magic wand. Nothing gets fixed without the risk. So it's courageous to be vulnerable, but we can share that language, and sorrow is this kind of silent way with it. Grief connects us more deeply than joy ever could. I love music. I love to go to a concert and have, thousands of people, really loud music, bopping around, and I am in my happy place. I'm smiling ear to ear, I'm dancing, and I know none of those people. It is not intimate. It's fun, it's community, and I love it, but it's not intimate. It doesn't connect me with them in that same way. When we share where we are in our sorrow or grief, we've created a bond, a tether. When we meet together, like in our Meeting Grief workshops, we create a basket, a beautiful container where we are shared, we're connected, and that goes on and on. I can think back the last year and a half that we've been doing these. I see the faces of the men and women who came. I hear their stories. I see them all the time. That's a thread that is never going to go away. I know who they are, even if I never see them again. We are connected in our shared humanity, in the grief and the sorrow, in a way that does not happen only through joy. So I'm a big fan of sorrow and grief. which sounds really kind of contradictory, but I am. The more I spend time in it, the more comfortable I am with it. So I would encourage you to consider that. Familiarity breeds warmth and compassion. Spend your time with someone. And every heart carries that potential for profound healing. It doesn't mean you'll never be sad again. So I'm just saying that right out. You can't escape it. It's part of life. It's something to befriend. It's something to connect with and learn how to navigate. That's the ticket, really. Because I don't want to make it sound like sorrow and grief cannot take you to your knees. It can. But it is a cycle. You go down to your knees, you do the work, and you come out. And on the other side of that, there's the joy. They work together. So, I'm going to switch on to that one now. Okay, I want to do something quickly with you. I'm acutely aware of the time, but I want to have a little conversation. I want you to have a little conversation with you. And I want to make sure I say it the right way. So, can you just close your eyes for a moment? And can you imagine a small act of self-love or self-compassion that you could practice when you're feeling low or sorrowful or in grief? Can you feel something that would soothe you? I want to give you a moment to think about that. Hopefully you've landed on some small practice, a small gesture, something that would soothe your heart. And if you're willing, I would love for you to turn to the person next to you, and I'm going to time it because we really don't have a lot of time. If you would just share that thing that you touched on that you feel like would be soothing to you. Could you do that? Don't need a big backstory, just what would soothe you. Oh, such good students. I was a middle school teacher for about 32 years. Good attending. I'd like to popcorn round. Again, I'm so aware of the time, but I'd really love to hear a few. If you could keep it brief, maybe we could hear 5 or 3. But here's the trick. I'd like you to share what your partner told you. Fair enough? Just raise your hand and we can just... Monica? Taking a long, hot shower.
Linda loves singing.
Singing, yeah.
And Susan said taking a walk by the ocean, which I'm going to practice myself.
Perfect. Mm-hmm.
Leaning on God.
Leaning on God, sure. So many faith traditions that are hugely nourishing and comforting. Mm-hmm.
Writing a letter.
Writing a letter to anyone in particular. Self, other?
I think it was in the context of the person lost, but I think
writing. Beautiful. Yeah.
My partner started with the fundamentals about walking the dog and good nutrition, and then tacked on at the end getting drunk and having a good-natured bar fight.
Who doesn't love a mosh pit? Whatever.
I said I wanted to have a bar fight.
That's my husband you're speaking to, by the way, who felt he needed to share that one. I get why.
I guess this could happen after the bar fight, but my partner said hugging more. So.
Hugging more. Absolutely, yeah.
My partner talked about speaking to loved ones that she'd lost.
Always, always a good idea. I have a morning practice. I step out onto the outside, even when it's cold. It's not super pleasant, but I go out there, and it's part of this Peruvian tradition of kind of rattling, but it's the gratitude Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother Earth, blah, 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 blah. I go through my whole litany. And then I talk to the ancestors. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. And I say them by name. It's become a practice for me that my teacher would say, I'm assembling my reality. Right, you can do that one at home. Uh-huh.
And my partner talked about standing at the base of a redwood tree, even in her mind.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we do these things, and then when we can't really do them, our mind can. I know that with Qigong and Tai Chi. I've done that with folks in wheelchairs and whatnot, and they cannot often do all the movements, but we know that if they picture that in their minds, there is neuroactivity happening. It's actually happening for them. So to be at the root of the redwood, beautiful. Okay, so when you have time, we're just do this quick. When you have time to navigate grief or loss or a cycle that you're in, daily journaling. Therapy and counseling, always a good idea. Meditation and mindful practices. Of course, I'm a fan of Qigong and Tai Chi, but yoga, breath work, any of those things that are movement practices that get you aligned, body, mind, and spirit, are so critical. When you practice them over time, when you don't have time, they can help you in a pinch. So that kind of cultivation is huge. Creative expression, art, music, dance. And I want to say something about this. It's not that you have to do the art, you have to do the music, you have to do the dance. Go see art. Go listen to music. Go watch dance. You are receiving a gift from someone else that is precious. They're sharing their soul, their heart with you. You don't have to be good at those things to receive the benefits. Nature connection, as we talked about. Go to the ocean, take a hike, put your feet in the dirt. Look at a plant, pick some mushrooms safely. Grief circles, support groups. Yeah, hospice has them. We offer them. They are out there. Connect yourself with people who are in the space with you. Any of the somatic experiences, massage, Reiki, healing hands, attend to the body. My favorite, be of service. Yeah, volunteer. Show small acts of compassion wherever you can go. I believe that deeply. It comes back to me tenfold every time I step out in that direction. Now, what about when you don't have time? Okay, you're at a cocktail party, a family event, and you're just like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna lose it. Not down for this, but you're stuck. I'm sure you know the 4-part breath, yes? You know, it looks like a square. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. I do that at 1 in the morning sometimes. That happens, but I can get right back to sleep. But I want to show you when you can just do with me right now, just really briefly. Just put your hands at your lower dantian or your intuition belly. And she is in, and it's out. So in, and then out. As long as you can. And then in. Can you already feel how that can just change you? I mean, you could step into a closet and, right? These are things you can do in a pinch. That's a beautiful, quick one. How many of you have a practice where you connect with earth and sky in meditation? Where you can let your feet ground? The basic premise is, I would love to do it with you, but, clock's ticking. It's basically, you have your energy moving here, and you send the filaments through your feet, let them go through the soil, crawl around the rocks, tether on a big one, find a root, tether. And then let the energy flow upward through the crown, past the clouds and the sun, and find your North Star and tether. And let yourself feel you are the beautiful space between heaven and sky, or earth and sky, heaven and earth, however you want to conceive it. That's where you are. And being able to just drop into that just for a moment can help you walk over and then just like, oh, hi, how you doing, Joe? That's good. You know, you have to have these little ways. They're valid. They're valid practices. It's not bypassing your grief and sorrow. It's not bypassing. It's navigating. Attend to the grief and sorrow when you need to, and create ways to navigate the other parts of life as you move through that cycle. Yeah? Compassionate self-talk. Affirmations. There's a medicine song we've used before in some of the groups, and the chorus is, I am wise, I am strong, I am love, I belong. You could say that to yourself. Just step away for a moment, go outside, look at the sky. I am wise, I am strong, I am safe, I belong. Whatever you need to hear, say it to yourself. Feel it, and then walk back in and navigate. Journal writing, we just talked about that. You could do a 3-minute. Set the timer, 3 minutes. Just get your thoughts out of your head and onto the paper. Or take a pen and scribble the heck out of it. Whatever you need to do, that's okay too. Quick physical movements. Clearing in 4 directions. This is another one I would love to have us all stand up and do. Well, we can't, but I want to show you what it looks like. The gathering is here. You can maybe do it in your mind or small in your hands. But you gather up your breath here, right at heart center. Take that big breath in and you exhale and imagine the walls that are feeling like they're compressing you are just pushed away, and you've made some space, and you turn your palms up and you bring that breath right back into your heart. And then you clear, release the mind, wipe it clean, let all the static and the buzz up into the heavens, and take in a nice, clean, fresh breath right here. Clear it right from your heart. Set a boundary if you need to. Make some space, say no, and then take your breath in. And then let the body feel the tension leave your body. Imagine you are letting all the tension and energy into the earth, and bring your breath back up. Now that took literally about 20 seconds. You could do 3 or 4 rounds of that. You're activating your breath, and you're actually activating a bit of a meditation, making that space, clearing 4 directions. That's a quick and easy one. And it's one of my absolute favorites to do. It brings a regulation to the moment very quickly. Shake it. Yes, I look strange. I'm probably wrecking the mic now that the mic just fixed. But if I could move more vigorously, it's like animals when they're tense. Shake, right? We call it spontaneous Qigong. And we look weird, but it's okay. You just shake it all out. That's really literally a quick and easy practice. Okay, and then the bottom one, rest, rest. Anytime you can rest, even for 3 minutes, to just shut your eyes and breathe and just rest. Those are quick little fixes for this holiday season. And I want to look at this, I think, very, very briefly, because I want to read something to you. The survival principles, right? Radical self-compassion, please. No judgment of how you feel. Just be who you are. Be gentle with yourself. Boundaries are sacred. They're sacred, right? Protect how you feel when you're feeling low and in grief and sorrow. Protect it. Let it be. Say no. That's okay. Ritual and remembrance. Shrines. Shrines are precious if you can set up something. Now, maybe it's you don't have a grief of a lost one where you would set something up for them. Maybe you have the as yet unknown grief that came through perhaps one of those other gates. Make a shrine of beauty for yourself, where you pass by and something that lives in that corner, you just kind of go, oh, right. A nourishing shrine. It doesn't always have to be sorrowful, or honoring. It could be nourishing. Create those spaces for yourself. Community connection, what you're doing here, coming here, looking around for community. Even one person is community. Find that trusted person. You'll be there for them when they need it. Don't worry about burdening them. Be vulnerable and open the door. in sacred reciprocity. And then flexibility is your strength. You might be sure you're going to be able to do something, and then you wake up that morning, you're like, heck no. Permission granted. Or you might have been just so low and said, no, I don't want to meet with you for dinner or whatever it was. And then you wake up and you're like, I'm feeling great. Go. You don't have to be stuck in joy. Stuck in grief and sorrow. You don't have to be stuck there. You can allow for joy too. That is part of the cycle. And the more we meet the grief, the more we spend time with it, the more we have those opportunities for joy. So, quick. I promise I'm ending, Mike. There's sacredness in tears. It's not the mark of weakness. It's power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. And we are more alike, my friends, than we are unalike. Trust that. Everyone knows sorrow. Everyone knows grief. They just might not want to access it yet. You could be that person that gives the permission, that shows a way. We began with talking about a Rumi quote with sorrow and joy and the connection. This is my favorite from my well-worn, this is probably my second copy, the 365 Tao, Daily Meditations. So I want to leave you with this thought. And it's called continuation, appropriate for a cycle, yes? So understand when I'm reading this, I'm talking about the cycle of grief too, and the cycles of life in general. Upon completion comes fulfillment. With fulfillment comes liberation. Liberation allows you to go on. Even death is not a true ending. Life is infinite continuation. Always finish what you start. That alone is discipline and wisdom enough. If you can follow that rule, then you will be superior to most people. When you come to the end of a cycle, a new one will begin. You might say that completion actually begins somewhere in the middle of a cycle, and that new beginnings are engendered out of the previous ones. Completing a cycle means fulfillment. It means you have achieved self-knowledge, discipline, and a new way of understanding yourself and the world around you. You cannot stop there, of course. New horizons are always there, but you can reach out for new vista with fresh assurance and wisdom. With each turn of the wheel, you go further. With each turn of the wheel, you free yourself from the mire of ignorance. With each turn of the wheel comes continuation. I just get a little choked up at this last bit. Turn the wheel of your life. Make complete revolutions. Celebrate every turning and persevere with joy. Thank you.
Linda, I want to point out that you are right on time. How in tune is she? Thank you, Linda. That was awesome. We have just a couple more things before we conclude and let you go. We have a very special performance that I want to start off our community spotlight section with in October. And she was really nervous because this part is demanding a lot of her. She's playing somebody outside of her age, her comfort zone, and she's very vulnerable in this production. And I can't wait to see it, and I hope you'll join me to come to see these performances. So Justine, will you come up just for a minute with me and talk about your show? Go ahead and tell them about it.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That means a lot. I love you, Linda. Thank you so much, really and truly. Okay, so this is a perfect segue, actually, because these shows deal with the cycle and looking back at your life and reflecting in a life well lived, ? My name is Justine Stock. I'm the founder of New Canon Theater Company and the managing director. And I had the honor of collaborating this past April with a brilliant, brilliant artist in New York. I did his show, and I said, come and shine your light here in our community. And so I'm bringing him. This is not a New Canon production. This is my own production company in which I just started that focuses on intimate work and at some point independent film. So that just launched, and I'm really proud. I'm really proud of myself for getting to this point after all these years. And so we're doing this. We're doing Craps Last Tape and Rockabye. These are two monodramas that are obscure. And if you know Samuel Beckett, how many of you in this room know the playwright Samuel Beckett? Hi, Jennifer. Hi. And so he is, this is an absurd world. And in absurd times, we do absurd theater. So this will be taking place 1 week after the inauguration of the new president. And it will be at the Carl Cherry from January 23rd through the 26th. And then we close at the Henry Miller Library. And so that's been a dream of mine to accomplish that. They've never done theater really before. They've done a few pieces outdoors, but never really inside the library. So this is really sacred and special. So this is the perfect piece for it. I recommend that you come to both because both are going to be very, very different. One will be staged in a proper theater, and the other one will be inside the libraries if you've entered into our home. So please join us January 23rd through the 26th. Would love to see you all there, and please spread the word. Bless you all. Have a wonderful holiday. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justine. Awesome. Can't wait. Who's next? Who has an event coming up or something they want to announce? Now's your time to speak for 1 minute. Here you go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mark Angel, and I'm actually on the board at Center for Spiritual Awakening. And tonight at Center for Spiritual Awakening, David Holodiloff is performing his holiday concert. David's been going through some hard times lately, and we're trying to support him in coming back and rebuilding his business, as well as our ongoing practice at Center for Spiritual Awakening of having live concerts. We have a great concert hall. We have lighting, live streaming. It's a lot like here in a sense, but it's a sanctuary. So we really appreciate that. So if anybody has the chance tonight, I think it's $30 beforehand, but $40 at the door. If you'd like to come to David Holodiloff's concert tonight, it's going to be great. He's going to be playing his mandolin, and he's got his violin player, and I can't remember his name offhand. And also Michael Martinez is going to be playing keys, and it should be a really nice concert. I'll be sort of emceeing it, so hopefully we'll see you there. Oh, yeah. The reception starts at 6 o'clock. We're going to have food and snacks, and if you'd like to buy a glass of wine, it'll be available, but the food and the snacks are going to be available as a gift from the center. So 7 o'clock is when it starts, to answer that question.
Thank you, Mark Angel. Next, who's next? Who's got something they want to share? Come on up here.
Hi, everyone. My name's Sophia. This is Mary. I'm Mary. Good morning. And we both work at Crush Cycle. It's a brand new studio that just opened up in Seaside. And touching on the cycle of grief and sorrow, the indoor cycle community in Monterey last year went through a major loss, and the cycle bar in Carmel Rancho shut down. And while it might seem a little silly that it's just a workout studio, to a lot of us it was our safe space for the people who worked there, the people who were members, and it was honestly devastating when it shut down. And so we're currently in the cycle where we're reaching joy again and coming out of sorrow and finding peace, because Crush Cycle has opened, and it's one of the previous instructors at Cycle Bar, and her name's Vanessa. She's not here with us today, but the studio opened up last month, and it has been honestly just such a blast, and it's been growing, and our membership has been growing, and we're doing free community rides this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday's already sold out, but there is a Sunday that's available. There's still a few spots left if you want to come join us. We are an inclusive, inspiring, uplifting, and motivational space for anybody who wants to come give it a try. And yeah, anything?
Location. It's located in Seaside and on Fremont Street, and it's near Harumi, which is the Japanese restaurant. So you can just go to the website, which is www.crushcycle.com, and you can sign up for your free class there, or you can simply show up. And again, we're just a wonderful community, just like this space, and it is, a physical cycle. You're cycling. But we make so many connections. I've been a cyclist for over a year, and my daughter as well, and she's going to become an instructor. And we just made so many friendships, and that loss just ripped our heart out because it was so unexpected, and things happen in our financial world. However, Vanessa Haven, the new owner who opened the new studio called Crush Cycle, is a new beginning, new joy, and just a wonderful opportunity for you all to spread the word and try it out. It's indoor. There's no level, all beginners. If you've never even ridden a bicycle, it's a completely different atmosphere. It's theater, it's fun, it's community, and it's very deep and soul-touching as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cycle Bar. Sophia and Mary. Next, Rent. One more thing.
So we have five musical events and a comedy coming up on our schedule at Wave Street. And to learn more about all these shows, it's Charlie Linder Trio, January 5th is our next one. It's on a Sunday. He's kind of a pop fusion, straight ahead jazz, and so we probably won't have that many seats in here because it'll be a little more raucous. In June, we got a full bar, so we can actually have drinks now at this point. And you can sign up for our mailing list at just wavestreetstudios.com, and then you'll be made aware of all the stuff that's coming. Thanks.
Thank you, Rhett. This place really transforms into a jazz nightclub. It's a real vibe. I've been to one of them last week. It was awesome. Justine was there. Everybody, have a wonderful holidays. I'll see you in the new year. Our next month's session theme is called Journey. Last Friday in January. We'll see you then. Thank you, everybody. Bye.